Today and every Monday, we make sure you understand the law, but before we do that, we always have to say this. This segment is for informational purposes only. It does not constitute legal advice. No attorney-client relationship is formed by watching or participating. You do want to reach out to an attorney for any specific legal advice you may be seeking on your own when we get the paperwork out of the way. And it's Bill Kindig, back from Rice & Kindig. How's it going today, man?
It's going great. I've got Liam Young, the oldest of my 5 grandchildren, with me today, and I think he's fascinated by everything that happens here at the studio.
You know, it's rare to have a live studio audience, so
it is.
The nerves are flowing a little bit, but we're going to battle through it.
I think I'm going to do okay.
I think we'll do it. All right, so March is Brain Injury Awareness Month. Obviously, this is something that may be a little more difficult to prove when you're talking about brain injuries in court. I'm sure this is a pretty loaded topic.
Yeah, it is, and I'm going to tell you that there were people who have been brain injured, especially those brain injured in motor vehicle collisions, where you don't have, the perceived catastrophic loss. They're called the walking wounded because to outside appearances look totally normal, can carry on a conversation, can go back to work and do whatever. The way we first hear about what I think is serious brain injury are reports from family members. Their personality is different. It's not the typical complaining about headaches, but it does include that.
Yeah.
And it's because the area most commonly associated with injury is in the frontal lobe, the frontal cortex. There are 2 parts of the brain that kind of keep us on the even. The amygdala is the one that keeps us running from lions when they're attacking.
Right.
The hippocampus is the one that says, wait a minute, you're just seeing that on TV. There's not a real tiger out there.
Right.
And what happens when people have brain injuries is that frequently the hippocampus no longer filters, and so the amygdala is in charge. And so it's very difficult to prove. Oftentimes imaging, regular imaging, even MRI imaging, isn't going to show it. They do have some what they call bleeding edge technology. LSU is part of the study, and it's diffuse tensor imaging. And also functional MRI. And these are helping to identify those areas, but they're not yet FDA approved.
Okay.
So there's a gap in the cutting edge knowledge and those things that we can use in court. For the most part, we have to rely upon reports of family members. We can send people in for what's called neuropsychological testing, which tells us kind of what is the functional area, or an emotion is function, being affected by this person's injury, because you can have what's called diffuse injury throughout.
Right.
Nothing enough to show on an MRI, but the connective wires are no longer operating the way they should. It's probably the most frustrating thing, and we've seen it so many times that it's pretty apparent to us. But of course, juries are going to have to tease in and tease out. These are subjective complaints.
Right.
So we use some of the tools that are available for us with imaging and with testing to help put an objective type of basis to those subjective complaints.
Now, just hearing you break down all the different parts of the brain and the different testing, who knew that a law degree would come with a little medical degree as well?
Well, my daughter, the doctor, says, Dad, you're talking above your pay grade. But
yeah,
you do have to understand anatomy, and you have to understand, and not every lawyer does this. Brain injury is a difficult area, and as lawyers, we have to keep up on that leading edge conversation and information. Now, that doesn't mean that I can diagnose and treat,
right,
but we have to be able to understand in order to communicate effectively with juries, judges, and claim adjusters what our clients are going through, especially when they look what we say is normal. And that may be the most debilitating part of brain injury, is that if somebody has a broken leg, we can see the cast, and we understand. Let's give them a little. If somebody's in a wheelchair, we can acknowledge and hit. But somebody with a brain injury, there are no outward signs many times, and it is so debilitating. Loss of jobs, loss of relationships, depression, drug addiction, and suicide are all very, very common. So it's important to get people treatment that they need where they can get the help they need.
Absolutely. Well, great information here, Liam. I think we did well. Let's clap it up for Gramps here. We're going to go to Patrick now.